What's up, everybody? How you doing? Happy 1st of April. I do look pretty white right now, don't I? It's going to be a white boy summer. So how's everybody doing today? Get any... Excuse me. Get any April Fool's pranks on ya? Anyone run up on you and, I don't know, make you scared, trick you with anything? I know Carissa made a joke about being pregnant. Thank God that's a joke. But something I do want to be more serious about is just the fact that, I mean, let's be honest. You guys all know that I'm a commie, right? Like, it's time for the proletariat to rise up. The proletariat needs to take back the means of production in a glorious Marxist revolution. Damn it. See, I can't even get through it. Yeah, I'm kidding. I can't even get fucking through without laughing. Could certain people tell me how he is a communist? Yeah, no, it's kind of a joke because there are people that, like, think I'm, like, this radical leftist when I'm not at all. Hunter's a leftist, communist, Marxist, socialist. Leninist, Marxist, socialist. Read your theory, honey. Just kidding. I don't know what I'm talking about. All the right-wingers are like, I told you so. Exactly. Yeah, that little part's just going to get clipped, and that's just going to be used, like, out of context. There's going to be, like, 80 million videos made, like, Hunter Avalon admits he's actually a far leftist communist. You'll get there eventually. I don't know. I'm not, like, afraid to hear arguments or anything, but it seems like a lot of the problems that we have could be addressed via capitalism and, like, better social safety nets and whatnot. I don't know. I find myself agreeing with Destiny a little more when it comes to the economic side of things. Personally. I'll play Animal Crossing while watching the stream. Well, have fun. Excuse me, I gotta blow my nose. You know, all that crack cocaine. After I was hearing all about Hunter Biden, I thought, you know what? If Hunter Biden can do some coke, some crack, why can't Hunter Avalon do some, you know? So I started snorting the Holy Spirit. Hold on. I'm back. April Fool's every day was a joke. Hunter, my dad is an alt-authoritarian tyrant. I showed him your videos and he thinks you're worse than Hillary. Let him, go ahead. Let him come on the channel. Let's have a little chit-chat. Just kidding. Just kidding. Although, personally, roasting someone's dad on stream, that has a slight appeal to it. So, hey, to everybody watching, both on Twitch and YouTube, if you do want to help support the YouTube channel, please throw something in that super chat. You will have your message read live, and you'll be supporting the channel. If you're watching on Twitch and you want to donate, you can donate to my PayPal. That's about it. I'm not a Twitch affiliate yet. So, yeah, if you really do want to, you know, help financially, PayPal donations also are very helpful. The link is in my description below. But again, that's just a, you know, a suggestion. If you guys want to help out and donate or have your message read live, PayPal donations you can include a message with also. So if you guys, you know, want your message read live, if you also want to help support the channel, definitely does help. So yeah. We actually just got one from Sky Needs Sleep, $5. LOL, the right will be fooled this April with that one clip. Yup. It's gonna happen. And it's not even gonna matter now if I say it's a joke. Because these, like, dishonest hacks like Caitlyn Bennett will just, you know, dishonestly frame it. Remember what they did with, what Caitlyn Bennett did with her response to me? Where she was like, and I heard you cheated on your wife. And then, which is not true, by the way. And then she, like, flashed a clip of me saying, what I did was really douchey and wrong. It was a big mistake. When she literally deceptively edited it. Remember that? The full clip, I was like, we were broken up. After that, you know, yada, yada, yada. There was, like, no cheating involved. And I was saying, like, I'm ashamed of my actions. I wish I hadn't acted that way. And then, yeah, they snipped it. It was so cringe. Gills Nova guy, thank you for the 50. Wow. I'm the guy from Portugal, gave you 500 euros. I'm seeking therapy at the moment, and tomorrow I will start my 2-week vacation from work. Also, what are your thoughts on non-binary? Do you respect their pronouns like they, them? And thanks for the kind words. Yes, I do respect their pronouns. Thank you for the generous donation, both this time and last time. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a nice, 2-week vacation. That sounds nice. I'm a little envious to be totally truthful. But yeah, my thoughts on non-binary people have definitely changed. I don't understand non-binary quite as much as I understand, like, trans issues. But yeah, I will respect their pronouns now that I understand, like, the utilitarian use of pronouns. All right, why don't we get into our first topic? Ooh, what are we gonna get into first? I do have my hot takes to go over. What do you guys want me to go over first? Who's worse, Caitlyn Bennett or Blair White? Ugh. Don't make me choose. All right, we got to get into some topic. I don't know what to do. Guys, help me. Do we want to talk about Matt Gaetz? Do we want to talk about Nick Fuentes? Do we want to talk about Ben Shapiro? Do we want to talk about me defending my hot takes? Do we want to talk about liberals being anti-white? We got a lot of them today. We got a big topic. Ben Shapiro first. All right, why don't we get into Ben Shapiro first? That's a good idea. Oops. Hold on. Let me just pull up the clip really quickly. Okay, where's just like the quick little Twitter clip? Please. Thank you. Man, ever since I took that strange vacation to China, I've just had a nonstop cough. All right. So, let's talk about Ben Shapiro for a little bit. Ben Shapiro is, yet again, someone I came to meet in the industry. I met him only one time, but it was nice to meet him. It was cool. Like, obviously, he's a nice guy. Like, he wasn't going to be a jerk to me. I can go ahead and pull up a picture. If you must know, if you must see. Hold on. Right here. So, yeah. Your hair is utterly disgusting and shit. Right now or here? Because here, yeah, it does look kind of gross. Right now, I don't know, man. I think my hair is looking pretty fresh. But, okay, maybe you're jealous because you're ugly or something. But, all right. But, anywho, Yeah, I met Ben Shapiro. Nice guy behind the scenes. He's not like, obviously he's not going to be like a jerk, but he is a joke. A bit of a joke, yes. Ben Shapiro faces backlash for comparing long lines at polls to Disneyland. You look tired? Yeah, that's because I was tired, but I'm not tired now. I'm only tired of this bullshit. All right, Ben Shapiro.
Jim Crow
All right, let's hear it.
Jim Crow explicitly created a separate system of law for black Americans and treated them as inferior. There's nothing in the law like that. That's not only an overstatement.
So apparently, like, a Democrat compared Georgia's recent voting law to Jim Crow. Was that actually? I think Biden did that. I think that was actually Biden. Okay. Biden calls the... Why does my computer have to be so crappy? Biden calls Georgia law Jim Crow in the 21st century and says the Justice Department is taking a look. This sounds really hyperbolic. You know, I saw a lot of stuff going around about this bill. When I looked into it, it's not great. It's definitely going to like bring changes that I think are kind of dumb and unnecessary. But to go as far as to claim it's Jim Crow in the 21st century, that sounds like a really hyperbolic and emotionally charged statement. So, with my limited understanding of what this bill does... Hold on, wait, I had an article here that explained it perfectly. Okay. So there's just some things that are, I think, kind of dumb. Like the absentee ballot request period is shorter, starting 11 weeks before the elections and ending 11 days before. Runoff elections are shortened to 4 weeks instead of 9. Okay, some of these I don't think are that... Tightens requirements for county election supervisors, such as requiring them to have absentee ballots counted by 5 p.m. the day after elections. Okay, I mean, some of this isn't really that bad. Passing out, this is one I heard a lot about. Passing out food and drinks to voters is also criminalized, and partisan poll watchers will have to undergo training. Poll workers can pass out water to voters. So I think some of this is dumb, yeah, and I definitely think it's like going to... It could absolutely hurt voter turnout. You know, making it a shorter time. Their drop boxes have been authorized for use by law, but are only available during early voting hours and are placed inside early voting locations. There's also a population cap on how many can be set up. I don't know. I think it's dumb. I think it's unnecessary. And I do think that this is just like a weird Republican ploy to like, I don't know, but I think that going as far as to call this Jim Crow in the 21st century, that's really inflammatory. The bill, stupid, dumb, criticize it for just being unnecessary. Like, why would you go to this length to like criminalize passing out food and drinks to voters? But then I don't know. It just seems so unnecessary. But yeah, so Ben Shapiro, he's kind of mad about that statement, which, fair enough.
It's just an out.
Credit where it's due. That is a dumb statement for Biden to make. So, okay. So far, Ben Shapiro, we're agreeing with you.
System of law for black Americans and treated them as inferior. There's nothing in the law like that. That's not only an overstatement, it's just an outright lie. But, says Jamel Hill,
I agree with that. Truthfully, I do.
All of corporate America should resonate to the lie. The law imposes new voter identification requirements for absentee ballots. Well, clearly that's racist. I mean, you mean you have to show that you are who you say you are when you vote absentee? If you can explain to me how that's racist, I'm willing to hear it. Anyone? Bueller?
Yes. Hi. Actually, you know what? People even say I look like Bueller. Yo, Bueller, I'm here. I'm here at the class. I will explain it to you. I've been actually wanting to talk a little bit about this voter ID stuff. So, Let me try to think of how I'm going to word this. A lot of the times conservatives will take statements like this, right? Like voter ID, and they'll kind of shorten it to the point of almost absurdity, strip it of any nuance, and then treat you like you're an idiot for being against it, right? And it works. It does. It worked on me for quite a while. When I was still right wing, it worked on me. Because it's like, you think about it, you're like, how is it fucking racist to say to just let me see an ID? That's not racist. What are you talking about? And that's true. It's not, like, on its surface, there's nothing racist about asking for an ID, clearly. I'm not saying that's racist. But the problem with the, like, voter ID laws when it comes to voting is, one, voting is a fundamental American right. So I think that going to any kind of lengths to restrict that right, I think that you get into some yikesy and anti-American sentiments, right? So there are a lot of ways that black people disproportionately don't have U.S. government issued photo IDs. Black people just don't always have they disproportionately don't have IDs. So a lot of the times what it comes down to is not that it's racist to ask for an ID or something, but that when you say you must include this ID, it's going to disproportionately hurt black people. Whether your intention is to hurt black people or not, your intention might be completely good, and voter integrity is important, 100%. So, like, your intention might be completely good, but these policies tend to disproportionately hurt minority groups. A good example is this right here. By the way, this comes from Brennan's Center of Justice. Likewise, Texas permits voters to use a handgun license to vote, but not a student ID from a state university. More than 80% of handgun licenses issued to Texans in 2018 went to white Texans, while more than half of the students in the University of Texas system are racial or ethnic minorities. So, again, this might not necessarily be Texas saying, haha, let's screw over black people because we're evil, racist whites, he, or whatever. It's not like that at all. What it is that these laws tend to disproportionately hurt black people. So I think that what we need to do is make it so that it's 80% of Georgia voters blocked by the state's exact match voter registration law were people of color in 2018. And it's interesting because was it in Colorado? There was I thought there was like there was a blatant case where there was like voter ID hold on. Yeah, right here. So this was right in 2019. So what people say when they say that voter ID laws are racist, that's a hyper reductionist claim, and it's easy to take out of context and laugh at the people that sound like idiots making big bold statements that something as simple as an ID is racist. What that really means, though, is that black people are disproportionately harmed by voter ID laws. We need to make it so that it's easier to acquire a government issued ID. And if we're going to require people include a form of ID, then we should have a wide array of identification. Nothing like this Texas bullshit that only lets you use a handgun license to vote, but not a student ID. That's weird. And also, just time and time again, voter ID has been used with racist intent. This was right in December of 2019. In North Carolina, Racial discrimination was at least part of the motivation for a new voter ID law in North Carolina, a federal judge wrote Tuesday, striking the law down for now. Now, I recognize that this is just an anecdote, but this is just to kind of reaffirm my position here, which is that historically voter ID has been used for racist intent and to enact racist outcomes, like intent being irrelevant. Like, every time this happens, it doesn't mean someone's intent was for black people to be, like, disproportionately negatively affected by this. Hi, Hunter. Long time no see. What's up? Maybe we should work on making government IDs more accessible. There's many things that need to change, but that's really what that means when they say that it's racist. So I hope that answered your question, Ben. I feel like that was a decent enough response. Continue.
Limits the use of ballot drop boxes. Oh, you mean like ballot drop boxes where people could just stuff the ballot box or take ballots out of the ballot box? It hands
even the computer needs to just buffer with the
state officials more power over local elections. Even before the legislation passed, many voters of color in Georgia faced
What?
long queues at the polls. By the way, voter suppression doesn't involve long lines any more than long lines at Disneyland are ride suppression. You know what voter suppression is?
Okay, let's stop there. Again, this is what I mean is, yeah, long lines could absolutely be a form of voter suppression. Maybe not intentionally, but it could deter people from voting. So yes, it could be a form of suppressing votes. This comparison, any more than than long lines at Disneyland, is ride suppression. You realize, Ben, that riding a ride in Disneyland is not a fundamental American right. It's not a constitutional right. It's not a pillar of our American democracy. What is this? What is this comparison? This is what I don't understand. Is like, when I was really right-wing, I loved Ben Shapiro, and I still try to think of Ben Shapiro as someone who's like more good faith and more genuine, much more so than like someone like Steven Crowder or something. But then he says stuff like this, and he's just so dumb. And then I don't know how I thought he was at one point so smart. What do you, like, that's not comparable. Hold on, I thought I had something about long lines. What it really comes down to is like the long lines could be an indication that like the state wasn't properly prepared for the amount of voters that were going to show up. Maybe something went wrong with the machines. Maybe they don't have enough machines. Maybe they don't have enough staff. So there are multiple areas where things could be improved that could help it so that there aren't these incredibly long lines. Also, you can literally look, like in Georgia, what was it? There was just like a line people were waiting for 10 plus hours, I believe. Let me fact check myself. Hold on. Okay. This was actually back in October. Yeah, but I mean, there's more than 10-hour wait and long lines as early voting starts in Georgia. So yeah, people who like have kids, have jobs, they're not always able, and I don't know, hey, maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm just like a weird peasant. I don't know about you, Shapiro. I know maybe you're just too elite, but us common people don't usually have that much time to wait in line to participate in our right as an American citizen. Some of us have kids and we can't afford to pay a nanny round the clock like you, buddy. And some of us, I don't know, some of us have work. I mean, it's just like, yes, it could absolutely be a form of voter suppression. Again, intent is irrelevant. I'm not saying that there's somebody like intentionally trying to make it so there's long lines or whatever. But yes, it could deter people from voting. This is like, this is such an obvious thing to understand. And if anything, you can make the argument. I feel like you could actually take his argument and kind of flip it on his head. How many times have you been at a fucking amusement park and you see a long ass line and that deters you from riding the ride? How long do you see a long ass line and you're like, you know what? Fuck it, dude. I don't have all day. I'm not going to wait in line all day for one roller coaster. I feel like you could make that argument a lot stronger than, well, if you have to wait in a long line to buy your Gatorade, is that Gatorade suppression? Like, it's not a right to ride a roller coaster. So, okay, very poor example, Ben. I'm disappointed, to say the least.
Land are ride suppression. You know what voter suppression is? Voter suppression is where you don't get to vote.
And what if you're waiting in a long line and then don't get to vote? Why does it do this, dude?
Making those waits even more arduous, the new law bans giving food and water to people in line to vote. That's not even true. It bans giving any gift to people in line when they are within 150 feet of the polling place. You can bring water with you. There are people outside who can give you water. This is just not true.
Okay, whatever. That comparison, though, the long lines at Disneyland thing, got him quite a lot of flack, a lot of heat. He was trending all over the place. A lot of people cracking some funny jokes. They were like, yeah, women fought for the right to ride whatever, some Disneyland ride. Where was it? I don't know. I can't even think of my own jokes. I just got to find it in the article. I'm such a normie now. Ben isn't allowed to ride Space Mountain because of the minimum height requirement. It's a little petty. I don't like to resort to mockery of someone's height or physical appearance. Unless, of course, they're Nick Fuentes. That you can make fun of that person all you want. I don't care. But I don't think that's a very solid response. But yeah, okay. Great job, Shapiro. Great big brain take. Wow. I'm wowed. I've been wowed. Oh, gosh. What do you guys think? Let's go ahead and check out some super chat. Hold on. Okay, good. We're still live. Huh, that's odd. My super chat thing isn't like coming up, which is really weird. Okay, that's okay. Wine does things. Thank you for the $2. What are your thoughts on femboys? No thoughts really. I don't care. Jack Animations, thank you for the 2. Please do the Macarena Love Your Vids. Is that a dance? Because if so, then no. Nokin Loken, thank you for the Noke 55. Thoughts on Norway in terms of economics, culture, etc. Again, I don't have really strong opinions on Norway. I confess. From what I've seen, though, it looks nice. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a better answer. I've never been out of the United States. You know, the US, that's basically the whole world. Kayla Turner, thank you for the $10 donation. Did you hear that Caitlin Bennett said she thinks women shouldn't be allowed to vote because they vote blue? What's your take on that? Not surprising, and also typical dumb fuck argument from all of these griftery idiots. That's the same neo-Nazi argument, which is that we need to deport brown people because they vote Democrat. It's what losers do. It's when your ideas are so fucking bad, nobody likes you anymore, and you realize you can't win an election fairly, so you'd rather deport the people that vote against you instead of recognizing that maybe you're the one who's out of touch. Gills Nova Guy, thank you for the 5. Is there any right-wing channel do you still respect or still enjoy, or are you pretty much done with that stuff? I'll be honest. I'm having a hard time finding a smart conservative at this point. Pass and Phase, thank you for the $2.99. Hey Hunter, what are some of your favorite movies? You know, I like horror movies. It's a Wonderful Life. That's a classic that I really like. I've been watching a lot of Pixar movies with Rose lately. The Incredibles is probably my favorite, like, family kids movie. I don't know. I'm not like that big of a movie guy. Hold on, let me start that over. Speaking of clowns, we all know who Matt Gaetz is, right? He's the guy who every single time I see him, I cannot help but think of Beavis and Butthead. Mainly because Matt Gaetz is a butthead, but also because he literally like looks like the character in the show. But anyway, on a more serious note, Matt Gaetz is finding himself in a little teeny bit of hot water. Apparently, when Bill Barr was still the Trump-appointed Attorney General, they began probing whether Gaetz had a sexual relationship with a minor and paid for her travel. Apparently, Barr avoided being seen near Gaetz in public and pulled out of an event to avoid him. He actively avoided Matt Gaetz in public while the Justice Department was conducting a sex trafficking investigation into the Florida representative. On Tuesday, the New York Times reported that the DOJ had been investigating whether Gaetz 38 broke sex trafficking laws by having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl and paying for her travel. Gaetz has since confirmed the existence of investigation. Okay, that's a little creepy, a little yikesy. We're going to get into his defense in a minute, don't worry, but just this right here, and especially since Barr was part of it, that's a little yikesy. Not looking too good for Matt Gaetz. Uh-oh. How do I close this out? I don't want Matt Gaetz to show up and I don't know. Yikes. Why are we getting a little Tykes advertisement? But yeah, not a great look for Butthead over here. So he denies breaking any laws. He says that I believe that there are people at the Department of Justice who are trying to criminalize my sexual conduct. Well, I mean, is it sexual conduct with like a minor? Because then, yeah, they probably are trying to criminalize that. Are you going to say whether it was a minor or not? Or I have definitely in my single days provided for women I've dated. I've paid for flights, for hotel rooms. I've been, generous as a partner. I think someone is trying to make that look criminal when it is not. Does he ever actually like say, I have never been with a underage girl? I'm kidding. I know he does. But this part right here is really funny. I didn't do anything wrong, okay? It was just a grown man hanging out with a teenager. And I'm a generous guy, man. I provide for my girlfriends. I even bought her a lunchbox. I attended her high school graduation. I was even there to help her when she fell down at the playground. Why is everybody trying to paint me as the bad guy? Which is also interesting because Gaetz said that investigators on the Greenberg probe, the allegations are connected to a $25 million extortion attempt by the former federal prosecutor David McGee. That is what Gaetz claims, right? So Gaetz is claiming I'm a victim of extortion. And listen, let me be clear. I like to clown on the guy because he's a complete fucking buffoon, but I also want to be very clear. I want there to be a full-scale investigation, and truthfully, I don't know if he did this or not. He is vehemently denying that he had like he's saying this underage girl didn't even exist. So he is adamant about that. Now, do I believe him? Do I personally trust him? No. This guy believed the election conspiracy bullshit. He thought that there was voter fraud, and he thought Trump was still secretly the president. I don't think this guy has an honest bone in his body, but I don't think that's enough to indict someone or make a fair judgment if they did something like this. So, yeah, I enjoy clowning on him. He's a complete moron, but just to be clear, I don't truthfully know if he did this. And I try really hard to separate myself from a little bit of bias, right? I don't want to just assume he's guilty just because I don't like him. But he's claiming he was a victim of extortion, that this is all just a sham, that someone's out to get him. But then McGee, the person Gates accused, he denied the allegations and told the Daily Beast that it was a blatant attempt to distract from the fact that Matt Gaetz is apparently about to be indicted for sex trafficking underage girls. Shit! McGee and me over here throwing shade. So, who's telling the truth? We don't know, but let's hope that this investigation concludes soon so we can find out. And of course, there is a bit of irony in this whole thing. Suddenly, now that this investigation is known and has been made public, there are a couple things that Matt Gaetz has said that haven't aged quite very well. For example, Pepperidge Farm... Go away. For example, Pepperidge Farm remembers when Matt Gaetz was the lone vote against the human trafficking bill in 2017. I don't know. You know, it doesn't really mean anything. Just hasn't aged too well, all things considered. Where was that other tweet also? Oh, these people already compiled it. Hold on. Where was that one? Okay, so yeah, he said he wanted it to be called Gates Gate if he ever has a scandal. So there you go. This is definitely your Gates Gate, buddy. This one from 2019, this does not age well. This did not age well at all. There's no age that you can't be sexy. And then Matt Gaetz said, I say we change Florida's welcome signs to this. Matt, I know that you're apparently voting with, in your own self-interest. And now I know you apparently want to make your state of Florida really welcoming for yourself. But, gee, man, you should at least just try to conceal it. I'm, again, partially kidding here, just kind of, throwing shade. But it's funny. You gotta admit, it's funny. I love the Gatesgate tweet because he didn't even get the joke. We'll have to find out what happens. Matt Gaetz, man. Maybe he's just trying to be a nice, friendly guy. Hiram Schenk, thank you for the $5. Don't know if you saw my comment to change Wrecked Wednesdays to Hunter x Hunter, but Hunter Rex Hunter is one of my absolute favorite shows on YouTube. Oh, well, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think there's copyright on Hunter x Hunter, but Hunter Rex Hunter is kind of similar and, kind of has the same joke there. Allie, thank you for the $5 donation. You should check out Endernax. He's a pretty good right-wing dude. He's an econ populist and super anti-China. Yeah, I've seen him once or twice. I've heard he's pretty good at debate. Gary Davidson, $5. You were on Tim Pool's podcast a while back. His audience is mostly right-wing. What do you think of him? Not the biggest fan, but I also didn't do great on the podcast, so I try to forget. But every night, PTSD flashbacks haunt me. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I'm not the biggest fan of Tim Pool. I just wish I could have articulated that a little better when I was actually on his fucking show. Noke and Loken, thank you for the Noke 55. Do you think that the U.S. could ever get a strong welfare state like Norway? I don't know, but I'm sure that Republicans will fight to their dying days to assure that never happens. Sour Apple, thank you for the $10. Can you talk about immigrants? My grandma always bringing up and talking trash about these people get free this, free that, implying that they should work, become a citizen, and pay taxes, like, etc. Yeah, a really good explanation of that is just that if you actually look at the statistics, immigrants give way more in taxes. They pay sales taxes, and they even pay income tax in some areas in certain ways. I don't really understand it entirely, but you can look at the statistics and see that immigrants, they put more in than they take out. Immigrants are also a net positive on the economy. Illegal immigrants and legal immigrants, they all benefit the economy. We live in a capitalist society. Obviously, labor is like something that is equal to something that is a good. So the more labor, the more goods, etc., etc. These people get free this, free that. That's just a misunderstanding entirely of, immigrants in general. They aren't getting free anything, really. Jill's Nova Guy, thank you for the 2. I know I simp. I want to ask you this. Boobs or butts? I like my wife's boobs, and butt. I am Phantom. Thank you for the $5. Hello, Hunter. What good do you think Biden has done for the U.S. so far? I think that Biden is, to be honest, I don't think Biden's been doing that great. I've been keeping a close eye on him. I'm trying to find one solid, I guess I just criticized his hyperbolic bullshit language here. I know he has a high approval rating, and I think that he's a lot better than Donald Trump. But I also think that he could be doing a lot better also. And I think that some of the more important, long-term and I guess more radical policies, if you want to call them that, like a better tax on the wealthy, he's not really coming through with that very well. But what do you expect? He's fucking Biden. He's like a milquetoast Democrat. That's why I think it's so funny when people are like, well, Hunter, you voted for him. Checkmate, libtard, wrecked. And I'm like, no, I mean, yes, I did vote for him, but I more or less voted against Trump more than I voted for Biden. I didn't like Biden. I don't like Biden. I was super reluctant to vote for the guy. I was just stuck between one creepy, annoying white guy and another creepy, annoying white guy. If Matt Gaetz was sex trafficking children, then is this Pizza Gates? No. That's funny, man. Good joke. Good meme. But you see, Matt Gaetz, he had been under a lot of, he was... Hold on. It's so obvious why I don't stream as much. Because I'm bad at it. Of course, after we had Mr. Matt Gaetz and the investigation went public and everything else, the finest people swooped in to defend Matt Gaetz. One of the utmost saints, Nick Fuentes. Let's see what he has to say about all this. Certainly nothing that would be creepy or pedophilic in any kind of way, I hope.
Maybe we as a society need to rethink what constitutes moral sexuality. Because we live in a society where age of consent law is the gospel. Age of consent law, if you violate that, crucify the man. Female teachers are having sex with middle school boys all the time. Nobody cares about that. But
Okay. Back up. Took you 20 seconds. Wow. Already so stupid. One, what do you mean that nobody cares about that? Yes, there's a double standard with our criminal justice system, and that needs to be addressed 100%. That comes up a lot when you talk about systemic racism, because there's also a lot of bias towards men in the criminal justice system as well. But what do you mean nobody cares? A hell of a lot of people care when female teachers are raping underage boys. Like, what are you talking about? Second of all, what else are you talking about? Listen to this guy. Oh, society. Oh, my groypers. Listen how society has fallen. The age of consent. Why is it so important? Why can't we just fuck children? Why can't we be true traditionalists?
crucify the man.
Crucify.
Female teachers are having sex with middle school boys all the time. Nobody cares about that.
I like how he has to twist it to like justify it even more. Crucify the man.
But it's a large age gap between an older man and a younger girl. God forbid.
Well, hold on. Depends what that age gap is. I actually kind of agree that if the girl's like... Personally, I still think that like 18 is really, really young. But if a guy's like older and there's a big age gap and the girl's over 21, then I'm like, I don't care. To be truthful, I don't really care. Like if she is comfortable with it and the guy's a lot older and there's an age gap, who cares? But that's not what we're talking about here, small dick Fuentes. We're talking about Matt Gaetz being accused of having sex with a 17-year-old girl. He's almost 40. Having sex with a minor, a girl who's underage. That's a little spooky.
But homosexuality and trans and in between and this and that, no, but that's all perfectly okay.
Yes. Yup. You're right, Nick.
I think
Yes. Actually, base Nick Fuentes? This isn't even an April Fool's joke. Nick Fuentes is just being based over here. Yes. Older men fucking underage girls is bad. Correct, yes. And wait, what did he say?
society and trans and
Hold on. Let me make sure I know what he's
gap
saying.
between an older man and a younger girl, God forbid. But homosexuality and trans and in between and this and that, no, but that's all perfectly okay. I think.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Being gay, being trans, that's correct. Those are good takes. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. So is this like a hot take here, or is he trying to like signal to some kind of hypocrisy? Because there's just no hypocrisy. That's like him being like, we live in a society where pedophilia is bad. But like just being, I can't even think of an example. Who am I anymore? What's happened to me? So you're saying pedophilia is bad, but existing as a trans person, which has been documented throughout history? You mean existing as a gay person? That's okay? But pedophilia isn't? Hypocritical leftists at it again.
Okay. I think society that we live in has to rethink a little bit what they believe is moral and immoral sexuality. Large age gap, 17.
Oh, really? Really, Nick? Man, it's crazy how much more mask off he can go when he just doesn't have to worry about like YouTube TOS. 17? I mean, is it an 18-year-old with a 17-year-old? Is it a 19-year-old with a 17-year-old? I don't think that's a big deal. But is it a 38-year-old man allegedly with a 17-year-old? that's a little weird.
I don't know that that's really a world-shattering, terrible thing. I don't even know that it's necessarily immoral, other than that it was premarital. If Matt Gaetz had married her, I'd say, well, if he married her with her consent and the consent of the parents, this is completely moral. It's very traditional. And honestly, this is how it always...
Interesting. Very traditional. It's almost as if Nick just wants to hold on to tradition, whether it's good or not. It's really, really weird how he says it's traditional as if that's a good thing. I don't care, Nick. There was a time where it would have been traditional to have slaves. Like, this cling to tradition thing is so fucking gay. Wait, what? Yo. Did my stream just go out? That's weird. My stream went out for a minute. Can everybody see me? Okay, no, it's good. Okay, good. That was weird. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, this cling to tradition thing is just, it's like, it sounds like a little child desperately clinging on to like their teddy bear. Just accept the fact that the world is moving on, Nick. It's bad when grown men fuck kids, and it's not bad to be trans and be gay. Get over it.
Always used to be. But what you're supposed to do, I guess, is go to college, have lots and lots of sex, and experiment and do drugs and go on your careers, and then you're supposed to get married at like 32 or something, right? I guess that's a more...
strange how he's just straw-manning the opposition entirely. So really, is this the dichotomy he's presenting? You have the choice between having illegal sex with minors or going to college and having a bunch of sex and doing drugs. I mean, really? No. How about, date, make sure you're with somebody who you love and you want to spend with the rest, can I talk? Spend the rest of your life with? And then get married? It's like, what is this weird either or crap?
Moral way. Anyway, so that's my first reaction as I see that, and I put it on Twitter. I said 17, so what? Who cares? My other reaction is this. I don't believe the FBI. I don't believe the DOJ about anything.
Well, okay. Nick Fuentes says large age let's see. Another one? Oh, no, not another defense. This isn't looking too good for small Dick Fuentes.
Yeah, I think you lose me a little bit on that one. So, even if it were true, I would say, I don't know if that's a crime. I don't know if I'm ready to say, oh, run this guy out of town. It's more offensive to me that Matt Gaetz is in favor of weed legalization and gay adoption than it is that he was involved in a relationship with a large age gap.
Listen to this. It's so clear to me as soon as you realize that what Nick is about, and he's literally said this before, what he's about is order, hierarchy, and tradition. That's what he wants to conserve, okay? So he doesn't really care whether it's good or bad for society at the end of the day. He'll argue that it's better for society. Of course, that's going to be his argument. But he doesn't really care at the end of the day. He cares about preserving hierarchy, preserving order. So why are you against weed legalization? I would be curious to know why. The gay adoption thing, that's just hysterical because there are countless studies. There is literally consensus that there is no harm to a child's well-being being raised by gay parents. None. Zero. I mean, this guy clings on to this fantasy of tradition. He also clings on to this delusion that gay people are dangerous. Here's a really good one. This comes from Cornell. What does the scholarly research say about the well-being of children with gay or lesbian parents? Let's see. Below are 75 studies concluding that children of gay or lesbian parents fare no worse than other children. So that's what a meta-analysis is, if I'm not mistaken, is a compilation of multiple studies, and then variables are accounted for and they're all kind of combined. That's a very, very surface level explanation of what this is. But just what I'm getting at here is that this is some pretty solid data here. I mean, listen to this. A 2010 study by Stanford researcher used census data to examine the school advancement of 3,500 children with same-sex parents, finding no significant differences between households headed by same-sex and opposite-sex parents when controlling for family background. It's actually interesting because the only time children of gay parents do fare worse is if the gay parents are facing discrimination for being gay. So the only time that gay parents would actually fare worse than straight parents is because of people like small dick Fuentes. It's weird because these people complain about problems that they then contribute to. It's really, really hypocritical. But again, this guy doesn't care about being consistent. He cares about preserving order and apparently fucking minors now.
It's more offensive to me that there are open homosexuals running for office and just in society, in front of everybody, in front of children. It's more...
The mask, dude, it just goes off. He doesn't have to hide shit anymore. No more TOS for him to worry about. I just get annoyed with gay people, just like being there. Literally just existing. Straight up, that's what I have an issue with. Very bold of you, Nick. I'm sorry that gay people in public offend you so much. You know what offends me? Neo-Nazi little fuckheads like you in public. Do you think maybe you could stay inside for forever?
It's more offensive to me that you've got trannies and drag queens and all
Wow.
kinds of other freak things going on. I think feminism is more offensive than a large age gap. Large age gap is traditional, and 18...
Nice. Yep. Hey, it's traditional. It's got to be good then. Here's just a couple reasons why, if I must explain this, but apparently I must explain this to small dick Fuentes / small brain Fuentes. When you are a grown adult man, let's say in Matt Gaetz' position, okay? Again, we know these are allegations, but this is what he's trying to defend. So, Matt Gaetz, 38 years old, a guy who's in a position of power. He's able to fly people out and into hotels and whatnot. He's a sitting member of Congress. This guy allegedly having sex with a minor, a 17-year-old. Let's just think. Hold on. I'm thinking really deeply here. Could there be any issues with this at all? Perhaps a really, really imbalanced power dynamic. Perhaps the fact that you have an older man who's in a position of a lot of power with a lot of influence in a position where they are more or less able to, if they wanted to, completely manipulate that, again, underage teenage girl. This could lead to, manipulation, psychological abuse, and also, kids, teenagers at 17, the part of your brain that is still developing the decision-making portion, that's still developing, that's still processing. So this dumb idea that because it's traditional for there to be big age gaps, it's okay. It's like what? You watch Pride and Prejudice and you're like, well, I guess this is the fucking way it's meant to be. I mean, there's so many variables and factors that go into this. But yeah, the big ones being manipulation. It could lead to psychological abuse. It could lead, it is a massive power dynamic. There's virtually no way you could even amend that power dynamic with that large of an age gap, and with the girl being underage, and with the guy being a sitting member of Congress. There's a lot of issues here. So maybe it's traditional, but okay, it's traditionally stupid then. At one point, it was tradition to put leeches on people so they would suck their blood to try to get the disease out of them. But things change. The world moves on. Sorry, Grandpa. Thankfully, the world is going to move on, and once you're dead and gone, your kind are going to continue to just fucking die out, and the world is going to happily move on without you.
18-year age of consent, that is very modern, and it is very much a feminist agenda. I'm just putting that out there.
You heard it. You heard it from Small Dick Fuentes. The age of consent, the feminist agenda. It's like, what you ask most, like 2016 anti-SJWs, hey, what do you have a problem with feminism? What's the extreme feminist agenda? Did you hear how they said, like, air conditioning was sexist? LOL, isn't that cringy? Haha. You ask Fuentes over here, and he's like, I just really dislike the fact that feminists have constructed this bizarre agenda. The age of consent. Damn it. Ugh.
I'm giving a little bit of historical context. I think that's honestly the real conservative position on this stuff. You're really not based if you disagree. Because I see some people saying, oh, he's a pedophile.
Well, you heard it, Groypers. You're apparently not based unless you commit statutory rape. It's weird because I'm pretty sure statutory rapists would be considered degenerates to these people. I don't know. I don't expect any of them to have, any kind of consistent morals. Doesn't this guy call other people pedophiles, like, all the time?
It's gay. Because, to be consistent, it's like...
Why is it so quiet all of a sudden?
He's like, what, 20? And it's like, oh, and... I guess that's a little young, but he's a young guy, too.
So, here's a clip of Fuentes saying that he finds a 15-year-old hot.
Red pill take, TikTok pilled, red pilled. It's like everybody was asking me, what do you think about Dixie D'Amelio? And I look her up and I'm like, she's hot. Everyone's like, she's 15, she's 15. I'm like, oh no, I was kidding. Never mind. Give me a break. T comes as WTF. That's all a joke, though. That's all a joke.
That's really, I love how he says it's all a joke. Just, just keep that in mind every time you're like, hey, remember that time Fuentes said that Holocaust denial comment? And then all the Groypers are like, but he was just telling a little stand-up comedy bit, man. That was just a little gag.
Look, Dixie D'Amelio, hot. Okay, I'm just going to say it.
I know, this is the problem with you, Fuentes, is you don't know how to keep any of your thoughts in your mind. Hey, we should deport black people. Keep that one in there, buddy. Talking about 15-year-olds being hot? Keep that one in your fucking demented little pea brain.
Saying. Okay, sue me. Call me whatever you want. She's hot. And you have to work your way backward from that. Some people, that's their approach. Some people, they'll discover something and they're like, wait a minute, but I'm not supposed to think that. I will not think that anymore. And I'm red pill because I work my way backwards. I'm like, well, I know that this is true. Let's work our way backward and let's see if we can justify,
Literally saying that, admitting that he post-talk justifies, which is like is not a fallacy, but that's definitely a really like weak way of arguing. Wow. Well, thank you, Small Dick Fuentes, for the wonderfully hot takes that you apparently think grown men being with 16 and 17-year-olds is based in red-pilled because it's traditional. Kind of makes you think what other stuff this guy might consider traditional that he might want to defend. Surely he wouldn't want to do anything that was, too crazy. Pixel Demon, thank you so much for the $10. Hey, I'm pro-LGBT, pro-choice, pro-gun, pro-capitalism, pro-low taxes on everyone. What party did I vote for? In one sentence, I want gay couples to defend their pot plants with fully auto ARs. I remember seeing that meme, and every time I see people repeat it, it makes me very happy because that is a very, very excellent point, my friend. Very nice. And yeah, everybody should have the right to defend their pot. Let's not fuck around here, all right? Gills Nova Guy, thank you so much for the 10. What's your favorite non-political channel? PewDiePie, Critical, Some Ordinary Gamer, Bella Delphine, She a Thought I Know. I prefer PewDiePie, not Bella Delphine, sorry. She actually makes me extremely uncomfortable. Probably my favorite non-political channel would be, I don't know. I'm much more of a creator. I don't view. I mean, I enjoy Cody Ko a lot. He makes some pretty funny shit that's non-political. Have your views about feminism generally changed, Hunter? I recognize that there is a component of feminism that's good, but I also recognize that there's a component I call pop feminism that's really cringy and bad. So, yes, I recognize that there's like more layers to it, but I also still think that there is a layer of feminism that's really hella cringy. Sky needs sleep. Thank you for the 5. This is the point where Fuentes shuts up because every time he says something just makes him sound more sus. Exactly. It's a great way of putting it. Thank you so much for the donation. All right. All right. I want to talk about this. Now listen. There are people who are like on the left, right? Not libcucks, but people who are like actually on the left that actually like talk the talk and walk the walk. And I think that a lot of those people recognize the very nuanced discussion when it comes to disproportionate statistics in any kind of crime rate, right? Twitter liberals, not so much. We all know about the horrible tragedy that took place in Colorado a little while ago now. Obviously, it was horrific. But if there's a tragedy, then you can bet your ass that a bunch of libtards were going to make it into a tragedy of their own. Twitter liberals rushed to blame the Boulder shooting on white men before the suspect was even identified. This is so cringe. This is so annoying. Extremely tired of people's lives depending on whether a white man with an AR-15 is having a good day or not. Someone else spreading just blatant misinfo that the guy's white. The shooter was taken into custody. In other words, it was almost certainly a white man. Again, if he were black or brown, he would be dead. A white armed mass murderer has a better chance surviving an encounter with the police than a black dude holding a phone. Apparently, another girl also said that violent white men are the greatest terrorist threat to our country. And another guy said he would bet his entire salary if the shooter was not a white man. Of course, it later turned out that the shooter was, in fact, not a white man. He was a 21-year-old Middle Eastern guy. Now, I personally think the race of the suspect here is kind of irrelevant. I think the fact that these Twitter liberals were so quick to blame white men is really fucked up. And let me explain why. I think that making the assumption that a crime was committed by a certain race based on nothing but maybe a statistic, because you could argue technically that yes, like white men disproportionately commit more shootings. If you look at it, it's like more that like white men literally committed the most shootings, but proportionally they don't. The one thing that's not, in question at all. It's like it's very contested, really, if white men are actually disproportionately committing shootings. What isn't contested as much is that men, just men across the board, disproportionately commit these kinds of attacks. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's part of it is that to go full Joker for a second, we live in a society that teaches men that oftentimes they need to kind of bottle up their emotions. They can't really express them, and that oftentimes teaches unhealthy coping mechanisms. And men in general are just more likely to express their feelings in an external way. They're more likely to be violent. They're more likely to be aggressive. We know this. This all makes pretty big sense, right? So, is there some statistical backing that white men disproportionately commit more shootings? For the sake of this argument, let's go ahead and just say sure, fine. Let's just go ahead and say fine, even though it's contested. I looked it up and there's literally one article saying that proportionally they don't. Then there's another article saying that they disproportionately do. So all I can really take away from that is that it's contested right now. But, I kind of lost my train of thought here because I got distracted by a comment that was very complimentary of me. Someone said I have a galaxy brain. Thank you. I mean, I knew that, but now if only my galaxy brain could remember a train of thought consistently. But fine, for the sake of argument, let's go ahead and say white men disproportionately commit shootings. Even if that were true, the assumption of someone's race based on nothing but a statistic before you even know any of the details, I would say is racist. Think about it this way. If someone came up to me and they said, "Hey Hunter, did you hear that there was an explosion downtown?" That was all I knew. And I said, I would bet my salary that it was a brown Muslim. I couldn't then back up and be like, well, hold up. Disproportionately Muslims do commit more no. The assumption of someone's race before you even know the details based on nothing but a statistic is literally like the kindergarten textbook definition of being a fucking racist. You are forming your opinion based on stereotypes and assumptions. You could make the same argument with stereotypes. There's usually a hint of truth to all stereotypes. Almost every stereotype has originated from some form of something or another, right? But it doesn't give you justification to stereotype people. And this, honestly, I know it's not quite the same. I know that the 1350 thing is a lot worse at the end of the day. But I think that it's a little comparable, at least in this example, because you have people on the far right that do this same shit. They'll say 1350, black people make up 13% of the crime, 50% make up 13% of the population, commit 50% of the crime. And then if you say, hey, that's kind of racist, then they'll back up and be like, well, hold up, wait. Statistically, black people do commit more. It's the same kind of spiel. It's the same kind of making assumption of someone's race. I mean, literally all of these Twitter liberals would condemn anybody as being a racist if someone said, hey, someone's store got robbed, and then anybody at all was like, oh, I bet it was a black guy that did it. You couldn't be like, well, black people do commit more crime. It's bullshit. So this is bullshit. This is just racism. And yeah, doesn't have as many long-lasting consequences as institutional racism on black people or whatever, but I'm not claiming that it does. I'm just claiming that jumping the gun and just assuming that the shooter's ethnicity based on nothing but really literally nothing. I mean, these people didn't even wait for anything. They didn't even try to defend themselves with a statistic or anything. Just nothing. So I just think this is really cringy. I think that this overall optics-wise is despicable, and I think that this hurts discourse also, because why would anybody who wanted to hear a little bit more nuance listen to anyone on the left when their idea of the left is this? Twitter liberals assuming that everything bad done is always a white person's fault. It's just bullshit. And again, there are a lot of complex reasons why men are more likely to commit violent crime. Mental illness, people talk about that a lot. That was kind of my go-to thing also. But believe it or not, mental illness isn't actually as big a factor as I once thought. there are a lot more, like, there's a lot more research now that has come out that's essentially pointing to the fact that mental illness alone doesn't usually compel people to go out and commit mass shootings. There are a lot of factors that play a role. Some of that, like, I mean, obviously I already explained a few of them, but some of them are also just the fact that men have easier access to guns. It's easier for men to get a gun than it might be for a woman to get a gun. Men are more likely to use guns. Women tend to use other weapons. Like, there's a lot of factors that go in there. Of course, it's also about boys needing a really good relationship with their dad. There have been studies that have shown that, like, when little boys wrestle with their dad and sort of play rough, you know, that helps them control their aggression and their anger. It kind of helps them understand how to keep a tempered emotion. So there's a lot of factors that play in there. I think if these people had said something about men, if they were like, oh, I bet a man did this, then at least you'd be like, yeah, I mean, most of the mass shootings are carried out by men. Like, there's no disputing that one. But bringing in the white men thing is just so divisive. It's racist, and it's just fucking bullshit. It's fake news. Like, you're just contributing to misinfo at the end of the day also. I don't know. It's just really ridiculous. These Twitter woke-tard libcucks need to just fuck off. There was also this one. USA Today, race and inclusion editor fired for her controversial tweet. She tweeted, "It's always an angry white man. Always." Come on, dude. Could you imagine if someone made this tweet for literally anything else? This would be identical to a neo-Nazi tweet. If they were like, "It's always a black man. Always." And the fact that she's a race and inclusion editor, oh, get fucked. I'm glad she got fired, actually. What a bad calculation. Oof. This is why you never jump the gun. This is why you never make assumptions based on your own bullshit, on your own biases. It's always an angry white man. Always. Except this time, and it looks like now this angry... looks like a lot of angry white men actually cost you your job, right? Because I'm sure there was a lot of controversy. Yeah, it sparked an online onslaught of accusations that she was a race and inclusion editor who's actually a racist hater of white men. That's funny. See, these examples right here are pretty good. Like, this is a pretty good example of people being, I would say, pretty racist, pretty biased towards white guys. I think that it's pretty gross and nasty. And I think that, you know, it's good to criticize this as much as possible. But, like, I just wish we could have a conversation about this, criticize it without the right being like, the left despises white people. They will literally get triggered if you even look outside and it's snowing if they see white. Like, I just wish we could get down to, like, a realistic grounding to have a, I don't know, better combo about all this. Kali Wally, thank you for the $5. I was conservative and a fan of yours years ago, but I left the right after Charlottesville. I'm so happy to know that I didn't grow away from it alone. Man, glad to have you back. Yeah, it's quite a journey, I know. Centrist Hunter, you're literally being a Nazi right now? Is that a joke? Gills Nova Guy, thank you for the 10. One last donation. What's your opinion on PewDiePie getting always canceled, attacked, being labeled as a Nazi, etc.? I think he's a nice, good guy making good charities. While I respect Vosh, he's wrong. Yeah, I think that PewDiePie's done some shit that's pretty irresponsible. But I also think that it's much more likely that he's just like an edgy gamer guy that, I mean, sometimes edgy memes can kind of, you know, have some overlap there with neo-Nazi shit, first of all. I think it's a lot more likely that he's just a gamer who's a little edgy sometimes, and has sometimes been irresponsible with his platform. Going as far as to label him as like a neo-Nazi, I think is a little... You have to like make assumptions to get there, and I'm just not comfortable making those assumptions. Alrighty. I think that's good for our donations for now. All right. We're going to go ahead and get spicy. Okay? Imagine that you just ate like a really hot taco with a bunch of Tabasco sauce on it, and your mouth is like you're about to be a fire-breathing dragon. We're about to defend some of my hot takes. That's right. 2 of my recent hot takes I've been getting in a little bit of hot water for. I think it's probably time I address some of them. The first one being this tweet I made yesterday, which says, oh wait, oop. Sorry. This tweet, which says, teaching your child that they'll go to hell if they don't abide by your religion is manipulative psychological abuse. Based Hunter, it is now 1 day later, and I am still sticking by this tweet. I agree with this. If you want to teach your kids about your religion, like I get that that's going to happen, but I think that if you are in any way weaponizing your religion to pressure your child to believe, weaponizing the concept of hell to pressure your child into believing your religion, I think that that is manipulative psychological abuse. Yes. 100 fucking %. Not surprised I heard this dude takes it up the ass, LOL. Okay, well. It's not even true. I mean, except for this one time, but... Didn't this guy defend hormone blockers for children? Yes, for trans kids. After plenty of consultation, if they want to get on puberty blockers, it could literally be a life-saving treatment for trans kids. We've also been using hormone blockers for decades. So yes, I support medical research and data that says that it's fine to use that for trans kids. When mom wakes you up and says it's time to go to mass, okay, whatever. Let's see. The luxury Chrysler minivan you got messed with your mind. Oh my God, isn't that funny? Dude, this Groiper's shitting on me because last time I heard about Nick Fuentes, it was back in like August when he was going on his Hunter derangement syndrome rant, literally screeching that I called my Chrysler minivan me and my wife bought for our kids so we all of us, our family could drive around. I said that it was a luxury minivan because it was a pretty nice, like a Chrysler minivan. It was a nicer... Pretty nice for a minivan, if I'm being fair. And Nick, like, rambled about it. He, like, cried that I said that for, like, 4 minutes. He was like, it's not luxury. It's actually standard casual. I'm like, dude, take a deep breath. Teaching your child not to do evil is psychological abuse. Pretty much what you're saying. No, actually, that is not what I'm saying. Not even at all. Saying that if you don't follow my religion, you will go to hell. Saying that if you do something bad, you're going to go spend eternity burning in hell with the devil. Yeah, I think that's pretty bad. And you know what? I'll take it a step further and say that I think there are elements of Christianity in general that would constitute being abusive. Psychology today kind of breaks down a lot of the components of Christianity that I can vice for as raised Christian as a kid who also had traumatic anxiety OCD attacks in regards to going to hell when I die. I can tell you that some of this is true. Here's a few ways that this could be abusive. Christianity teaches children that they are intrinsically evil. They did nothing wrong, but just by being born and being alive, they are evil. This is a terrible thing to teach children, not only because it is false, but because it is the exact wrong message children should be taught, which is that they are intrinsically wonderful, noble, and lovable, and that they have boundless goodness inside them. I agree with this. I have actually, like, looking back now, I can even see, and I recognize them being kind of, this is anecdotal here, okay, I recognize it, but just for me, personally speaking here, I can look back and I can see how that line of thinking fucked me up growing up too. What is manipulative is telling kids that if they're attracted to their own gender, an all-loving God will send them to suffer forever in hell. Oh, yeah, well, that's abusive as well. 100%. Christianity teaches children that there exists a powerful evil devil. Christianity teaches oh, wait, here we go. This horrible falsity infuses their childhood with needless fear and dread and teaches them that the world is a dangerous place with a malevolent demon lurking in the wait. In my own research, I've interviewed many adults who describe the whole Satan thing as a decidedly traumatic element of their children. Yep. Right here, this one's a big one. Christianity teaches children that those who accept Jesus as their personal savior are good /saved /going to hell, and those that do not accept Jesus as their personal savior are sinful and destined for hell. This can cause children to feel smug, superior, self-righteous, judgmental, and to look down upon and condemn others, be they kids on the schoolyard, neighbors, or even relatives. And I think this is true. I also think that teaching them that if they don't believe in your God, in your version of religion, in your version of Christianity, they're going to go to hell. I think that that's pretty fucked up too. Yeah. Like, it's kind of in nature manipulative, right? If you're like, you tell a child you're going to burn for eternity in a lake of fire if you don't believe that Jesus died for you and invite him into your heart. Like, what the fuck is the kid supposed to do? Your content is subpar. Okay, trash. Allowing your children to commit moral sins with eternal punishments while not warning them those sins will send them to hell for eternity makes you a horrific parent. Again, the straw man. No one said allow them to commit mortal sins. Wait, what? Is the opposite of say? Wait, is this how two-dimensional these stupid fucking retarded morons are? They think that, oh, you sit down and you're like, okay, here are your two options. You can either be a murdering rapist /psychopath, or you can go to hell if you don't accept Jesus and go to church every Sunday. Like, do you think maybe, just maybe, there's a fucking in-between there, lady? What a dipshit. Where was one? So teaching kids that if they don't obey the law, they'll go to jail. It's like, no, actually, you can objectively conclude that if you break the law and that if you are found guilty, you can go to prison. No one knows 100% if hell is real. No one. This is not comparable at all. I didn't even look this up beforehand. These are just not comparable things. This, like, ambiguous spiritual thing brings a whole exponential element into a child's life also that's just completely unnecessary. The whole, like, your soul is going to go to hell if you don't believe in my religion. Ha ha ha, Hunter gets so triggered now. I do get a little triggered, yeah, when I see people defending child abuse. And whoring them out and castrating them isn't. Again, always with a straw man. They're literally not able to address the argument, it sounds like. Teaching your child they'll die if they jump off a skyscraper is manipulative psychological abuse. It is a statement of wrong again. You know for a fact you'll die if you jump off a fucking skyscraper. You don't know for a fact if you go to hell. In fact, that's something else that's contested. There are even people that talk about how the Catholic Church invented hell to manipulate people into believing in their religion. Who would have fucking thought, right? It's so creepy. Like, parents should eventually be prevented. Okay, I'm trying to see if I'm not seeing too much more. Huh. There was one other one where someone was like, they need to learn religion. That's how our morals are formed, which is also complete bullshit. Like, there's plenty of societies where religion is not taught the way that it is with, like, Christianity. And I just joined and Hunter sounded like a conspiracy theorist. That's because I am a conspiracy theorist. The water is turning the frogs gay. Hunter, you're literally advocating the ban of Christianity? What? Who advocated for banning shit? What are you talking about? If anybody could actually address the literal argument I made, that would be amazing. Because so far, virtually everybody who's criticized this has just made a complete straw man. Yes, and I suppose telling them that death brings only black nothingness and trying to be a good person is meaningless because there is no God that loves them is not child abuse, I presume. No, that definitely seems like the... Again, why is it always like this? Can someone actually just rebut the claim without making like a fucking straw man comparison that has no weight here? No one's saying that it's either teach your kids they'll go to hell if they don't abide by your religion, or tell them that life is meaningless. There's no God. No God loves you. Like, no, that's not what you would say. You like, I mean, preferably you wouldn't really be talking too much about death with your child, right? Okay, I think we've seen enough of this. Wow. Let me go over to my other clip now. So, the other reason that I'm in a lot of hot, spicy, boiling water is because of a little joke I made in this video, Answers for PragerU. The comments are like bombarded by a bunch of virtue signaling, grandstanding, I don't know, dumb fucks, I guess. All like pretending to be outraged by something. So let's go ahead and see what I said. Have you looked at systemic change?
I humbly propose that you use some of that money to help black people who have been harmed by the destruction that has accompanied BLM protests.
Oh my God.
I'm thinking of the family of David Dorn,
Right, you can't see me now.
the black retired police captain who was shot and killed while trying to protect a friend's pawn shop from looters.
I don't know about this David Dorn guy. I mean, have you looked at his past? You know, I've heard this guy was no angel, man. Hey, I think maybe he was on fentanyl. I don't know, man.
Protect a friend's pawn shop from looters.
I mean, you'd have to be on some kind of kooky drugs to go and literally risk your fucking life to protect someone's pawn shop.
Speaking.
Okay. So, a bunch of people got mad about this. I'm not going to drop any names because this person is kind of irrelevant, so I'd like to not really talk about them if I don't have to. But someone did a video about this, basically screeching and crying that I would dare make such an insensitive, hurtful, mean joke. Now, what I said there was kind of cold. I recognize that. It was like kind of a cold joke. Sorry I like edgy humor. Sorry that the joke police snowflakes were offended. What I was really doing here is obviously clowning on the conservative narrative, right? Which is every single time a black person is murdered by the state, like the George Floyd case, they rush to defend it by claiming the guy was on fentanyl, or actually one time he got a speeding ticket, so he actually fucking deserved it. Every single time. Literally every time. Like, you know, literally every time. Candace.
At US Cellular, we
fuck?
believe everyone deserves 5G. And we're so confident in our network, we're offering 6 months of free service.
What the motherfucker? Oh, come on. Okay. That scared the shit out of me. Wow. No wonder I'm so bad at my streams. I leave one tab open and bam, it starts playing some fucking bullhorn. So yeah, wait, no. Let me pull this thing up here. Candace Owens just made another tweet that was just exactly the same. So Candace Owens, for example, will repeatedly, right here, this is exactly the tweet I'm looking for. We've turned George Floyd, a criminal drug addict, into an icon. I don't care about any other part of her dumb fuck tweet. It's just this part I care about. We've turned George Floyd, a criminal drug addict, into an icon. This is irrelevant. One, he wasn't turned into an icon. He was turned into a symbol because he was murdered by the state, which was very indicative of a systemic problem. Two, what does him being a criminal or a drug addict have to do with anything? This is exactly what I mean. George Floyd shouldn't have been killed by the cop. That's the only statement here. Whether he once did drugs, whether he once smoked the marijuana, whether he once got a speeding ticket, whether he once committed a crime that he served prison time for, all of it's fucking irrelevant. Should he have been killed by the state? No. If he was literally on drugs while he was being arrested, should he have been killed by the state? No. Police could have detained him. We saw the video. Like, this is what I mean. Bringing up these irrelevant details to try to smear the person's character to ultimately get at the real goal, which is that he deserved it. He had it coming. There's no real problem here because this guy was a drug addict. It's probably for the best that he's dead anyway. But I'm sorry, that's not how us regular non-psychos think. So the fact that he's a criminal drug addict, whatever, is just completely irrelevant. Completely and utterly irrelevant, right? So my joke here was that these conservatives, PragerU, even the YouTuber who was like crying his little fucking baby bitch boy beta eyes out about this little joke, has completely like defended statements like Candace Owens, made claims like, well, it was drugs, well, it was a drug overdose, well, it was actually fentanyl, it wasn't the cops' fault, all that kind of stuff. Whatever they can do, right, to justify it, to try and defend, to try and deflect, even though we have multiple autopsies showing that the cop played a major role in George Floyd's death. So it's really, really funny to see these people who use these same arguments get mad when I use the exact same arguments in a sarcastic tone to kind of poke and prod and mock their own fucking bullshit. Like this isn't... do people genuinely think that I think that, like, David Dorn deserved it or something? Because I don't know anything about it. But this is what's funny too, is a bunch of conservatives are like, David Dorn was a longtime friend of the person with the pawn shop. He was just being a noble person who wanted to defend. They'll stand up on their high horse and do that and get all triggered that I made this joke. And then in the next breath be like, well, I heard George Floyd once cheated on a test and I think he once did drugs, so he probably had it coming. Save the moral grandstanding. It's so fucking hypocritical and annoying. It's just funny that these people, they don't like their own logic being thrown back at them. It hurts them. It hurts them to see their own shit thrown in their face. I'm sorry. You make these excuses every time. It's really funny too because George Floyd, like, he went to Minnesota where he was killed with a church group to try and get better from being a drug addict, like to try to better his life. He also had children. Like, the fact that Candace Owens would try to reduce him to nothing but this, like, just drug addict criminal who had it coming is just, it's a cop-out and it's an obfuscation from a real problem here. So my comment here about David Dorn being on fentanyl was not serious. It's very tragic that he died, of course. My point here, though, was that conservatives make these excuses virtually every single time there is an instance of police brutality. Even with fucking Breonna Taylor, they did it. Like, they will do it every time. And now they're mad because they don't like seeing their same logic thrown back at them. Feels bad, man. Sky needs sleep. Thank you for the $10. As a child who was raised in Baptist home, I was told I would burn in hell for even thinking it. While I'm gay and trans, it resulted in me hurting myself and practically losing my sanity. I'm so sorry to hear that. That is absolutely a form of abuse. 100%. Well, you know what? I can't say 100% because I'm not a licensed therapist. But in my non-professional opinion, that sounds pretty bad. I'm really sorry that happened. Astra MMM, thanks for the $10. What are the people in chat smoking? Hopefully weed, because that's pretty based. Tadiq Shahid, thank you for the $5. Hunter is a liberal now. Okay. Sky needs sleep, thanks for the $5. I was diagnosed with anxiety, paranoia, and other things. I'd rather not get into it. I'm still healing. Bigoted views are not only false, but abusive too. Yes, that is 100% true. Get some rest. Continue your healing process. I hope you continue to get better. I've dealt with anxiety. I know how fucking tough it can be. Tadiq Shahid, thank you for the $20. George Floyd was a drug addict and he died of an OD. Okay, well, we'll see what happens here at the end of this court case. But again, him being on drugs was it literally could have been a contributing factor. But would he still be alive had it not been for Derek Chauvin kneeling on his neck? Yes. Okay, that's all I need to know. Thanks. Also, thanks for the $20. I honestly, I appreciate you paying me money to say something stupid to me. It's really nice, actually. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream, guys. This was a lot of fun today. Oh, wait, I'm already in full screen. All right. George Floyd's death was not justified, but the massacres that happened in his name after his death were not either. Fuck BLM. Okay. Well, I mean, they were majority peaceful, but let's get sub count back to 600K. Yeah, guys, come on. Hit that sub button. And if you're on Twitch, subscribe. Let me make sure I... Okay. Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, hold up. We got a PayPal donation at $6.35. Katie Johnson, thank you for the $5. My pastor blamed my suicide on sex outside of marriage. Are your suicide was blamed on... Thank you to Ashley Montgomery. I assume you are watching on Twitch. I hope you're still watching. I'm sorry I did not get to your donation sooner. Thank you so much for the $20 donation. Means so much. Ashley says, you helped me move from the right to the left. Thank you. I am glad to hear it. Remember to keep being a free thinker. Don't confine yourself to any box, any label. I appreciate the donation. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. Excellent stream today. Well, guys, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed, even though I stuttered my words a little bit. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. It means a lot. And stay tuned. Tomorrow, you'll probably see an edited version of some of these clips. Yeah, stay tuned for more content dropping soon. And, yo, if you haven't already, go follow me on TikTok. Because it's cringy, but I have followers over there, and people actually watch my stuff for some reason. So, yeah, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are watching right now. Thank you to everybody who donated and to everybody who came here to chat. Hunter, how can I interact with you so I can debate you about homosexuality in the Bible? I don't really do debates too often, but I guess you could shoot me an email. But, yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Peace. You, TikTok. Hey, don't be mean to TikTok, okay? I know it's cringy, but I post, just clips of my videos.